Hi, everyone. I'm Neeraja. I work at Voxel 51, the company who is conducting this event. I've been here for a couple of months, and I'm going to talk about 51 Labs, which is something that we have currently soft launched. It's not out in the it's not like officially released yet, but it's something that we would like to start some early adoption on. And today I'm going to just explain the philosophy behind 51 Labs and what we hope to see from it as we engage with the machine learning community. Uh, so for some context, if you've used the Voxel 51 app before, or even if you haven't, it's an open source application for doing computer vision experiments. And one of the important aspects of that is our plugin ecosystem. So this is a way by which our open source as well as enterprise users can write a piece of code that they can share, like, or functionality that they can share um, with the rest of the community without really going through a peer review or pull request process. So that just enables more flexible ad hoc experiments or functionalities we shared. And so far, we have had contributions from Voxel 51 engineers as well as the open source community as well. Uh, some of the things over here that we are trying to improve going forward is discoverability of these features. We have hundreds of these plugins, and it's not really communicated across all of the relevant users when a plugin is released. We do have a web page that lists a bunch of them, but there are still a lot of them out there. And there is currently also no incentive to share or avoid the duplication of work. If you're developing really cool computer vision applications, we would like to have a way to get these across to various different users, get some feedback on them, dog food them, understand who is using it, how they're using it, and so on and so forth. And eventually have a pathway of including them into the main product, which currently doesn't officially exist. So the way we are planning to do it is via 51 Labs. There's a repository link over here that has like an initial V1 version of it. We would be adding a lot of new functionalities to this soon. You can look at this as a curated set of plugins, like a shelf, which highlights a bunch of recent features. And these would be features that we would want to test out on the adaptability range and have them included in the Voxel 51 app. These are particularly going to lean towards visualization and machine learning features just because the field here is moving so rapidly, and we would like these plugins to be updated, maintained by the community, and then eventually, uh, when it is like stable and mature, pulled into the 51 open source product or the Brain, which is our current machine learning offering. Um, yeah, and then just a little bit on this is, I mean, I'll speak a little bit more about the do's and don'ts of this later. But just a visual on this is that right now we have a bunch of plugins that live separately of the app, and we don't really want to include them because they may not be as widely adopted. And hence we don't want to make the app itself very bulky. Um, so we're using a similar philosophy over here. We are still keeping 51 Labs as a separate panel. It's actually just a plugin that contains a bunch of other plugins that contain very cutting edge ML features. Like, for example, um, anonymizing a bunch of data, or like how do you reverse search, or like even search within an image? How do you sort of uh, mine for certain hard, negative, or like unique examples based on the data set that you have. A bunch of these operations are already a part of people's workflows. We just would like them to be modularized and put on this shelf called FiftyOne Labs so that anybody can download a plugin and not have to write code for these cool functionalities that are still evolving. That said, even though this is something that's incomplete and not heavily stress tested, it is still expected to be functional. So we would include in FiftyOne Labs things that have use beyond just yourself or your organization. And then we would let it mature over time and have an idea about who is using it, how they're using it, so on and so forth, and eventually get it. It could either live in the labs forever or be a part of the product itself. So as I mentioned before, this is designed to be a plugin itself. It just lists a bunch of other plugins that we would be highlighting going forward. The UI and the UI is just a wrapper on top of existing plugin management for those of you who are already familiar with how that works in FiftyOne. And the mode of installing this is documented in the repository's README. I will do a quick demo to just show how this works. Just waiting for our test data set to load over here. So FiftyOne Labs, once you install it, would be a panel over here with some cool features, which is a ever evolving list. Even though it just has 4 right now, you can expect this to see it go up to 10 or 12 in the coming weeks. And we can install or uninstall or learn more about the README about each of these independent plugins. And once you have installed them, they will just be available to you as existing operators, like how they exist in the app. You can give some, there will be some mode of giving feedback on this, adding your own updates or more pull requests to these repos, and so on and so forth.